It was the night of Halloween, the one night when the veil between the living and the dead is said to grow thin. The streets were alive with laughter, children in costumes running from house to house, their buckets filling with candy. But for 17-year-old Liam Carter, Halloween had never been about fun. For him, it was a reminder of what he'd lost exactly 1 year ago. Last Halloween, his best friend Evan had vanished without a trace after daring Liam to enter the old Holloway Mansion, an abandoned house on the edge of their small town. The police searched for days, but all they ever found was Evan's flashlight flickering weakly in the mansion's dusty hallway. Since that night, Liam had been haunted not by ghosts, but by guilt. He was supposed to go in with Evan, but he chickened out at the last second. Evan went in alone and never came out. This Halloween, Liam decided to face his fear. Not for fun, not for the thrill, but for closure. I owe him that much, he whispered to himself, gripping the small, cracked flashlight that had once belonged to Evan. His two friends, Maya and Chris, tried to talk him out of it. "Liam, this is crazy," Maya said, her voice trembling. "People say that house is cursed. The Holloway family disappeared there back in 1963. No one knows what happened to them." Chris added, "Bro, every kid in town knows the stories. People hear voices, see shadows, lights turning on by themselves. Why do this to yourself?" Liam looked at them, his jaw tight. "Because I can't live like this anymore. I have to know what happened to him." So at 11:47 p.m., just before midnight, they stood before the towering ruins of the Holloway Mansion. The house loomed like a sleeping beast, broken windows, ivy crawling up its sides, and a gaping doorway that seemed to swallow the moonlight. The air felt unnaturally still, as if the world was holding its breath. When Liam pushed open the creaking door, it groaned like something alive. Dust swirled through the air, and the faint smell of decay clung to the walls. The beam of his flashlight cut through the darkness, landing on old furniture covered in white sheets, portraits with faces scratched out, and stairs that seemed ready to collapse under their weight. "Hello?" Liam's voice echoed softly. "Evan." No answer, just the distant sound of dripping water. They moved deeper into the house, their footsteps crunching on the debris. Maya clutched Liam's arm tightly. "We should have brought more light," she whispered. Chris nodded nervously. "Yeah, or maybe a priest." In one corner of the hallway, they found something that made their blood run cold. A faded message carved into the wall with shaky letters. "Don't let it in." Chris frowned. "Don't let what in?" Before Liam could answer, they heard it, a slow, dragging sound upstairs, like footsteps, but heavier, deliberate. They froze. Maya's voice cracked. "Liam, maybe it's an animal." But deep down, they all knew it was. Liam tightened his grip on the flashlight and slowly climbed the stairs, each step groaning beneath him. The air grew colder, and the light began to flicker. Halfway up, the temperature dropped so sharply that they could see their breath. When they reached the top, the sound stopped. hallway stretched out before them, endless and dark. And then, from one of the rooms, came a faint whisper. "Liam." He spun around. "Did you hear that?" Maya nodded, her face pale. "It said your name." He stepped toward the room at the end of the hall. The door was slightly ajar, and the light from his flashlight barely pierced the blackness inside. "Evan," he whispered again. He pushed the door open and gasped. There, in the center of the room, stood a figure facing the wall. Tall, thin, dressed in the same hoodie Evan had worn the night he disappeared. His flashlight slipped from his hand and clattered to the floor, rolling across the room. "Evan." The figure turned slowly, and what Liam saw wasn't his friend. The face was pale, stretched unnaturally long, the eyes hollow pits of darkness. When it opened its mouth, it screamed, a shrill, distorted cry that echoed through the mansion. Maya screamed. Chris grabbed Liam, pulling him back toward the hallway, but the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. "Run," Liam shouted, forcing the door open with all his strength. They stumbled down the stairs, but the shadows moved, slithering along the walls, reaching out like hands trying to grab them. Chris tripped, falling hard. "Go," he yelled. "Don't stop." But Liam didn't leave him. He reached out, pulling Chris to his feet. "No one's getting left behind." They burst through the front door and collapsed outside, gasping for air. The mansion loomed behind them, silent once more. The laughter of trick-or-treaters in the distance felt like it came from another world. Maya sobbed. What was that thing? Liam stared back at the house, shaking. It was Evan. Whatever's in there, it's not human. As they turned to leave, Liam's flashlight flickered one last time. When he looked down, scratched into its metal surface, something new had appeared. 4 words that hadn't been there before. "It's not over yet." Liam's heart dropped. He looked back at the mansion, and for a split second, he saw something in the window, a figure watching them. The same hollow eyes, the same stretched smile. And then it was gone. That night, as Liam lay awake, he knew this wasn't the end. Whatever haunted that house wasn't finished with him, not yet. And deep inside, part of him knew the truth. To save Evan's soul and his own, he would have to go back. To be continued.